jamming it with Paint Your Body, and we're going to be spraying a Toyota Tacoma code 3R3. It's a red pearl. So let's get this job started and let's finish this thing up. Alright, so the job's already been prepped, taped off everything. I've already wiped it down with wax and grease remover. I've tack clothed it off and everything. So right now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to spray an adhesion promoter. I spray this on, I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone here. So I'm going to use it in the adhesion promoter, and at the same time I'm using it, I guess you could say, as a wet bed. I am letting it flash, but it does help me with my blends. So I'm using it for both the adhesion promotion and to kind of help out with the blend to keep the metallic or the pearl from sitting weird in the scratches from the prep area. Alright, so after I spray that on, I do like a medium coat or so. I'm going to spray that on, and now I'm going to let this sit for about 15 minutes or so. So now we're coming back in. It's been about 15 minutes. And I have the red pearl in the gun. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cover the area covered in primer first. I'm going to get my edges. And then step it out there and cover the primer area. Alright, so down at this edge of the bed, there's no repair area, but sometimes it happens, you know, when things are getting prepped, this or that, whatever. But in this case, on this job, there was a couple breakthroughs. Either that or there was a chip or something that we fixed. So I'm going to have to be careful where I'm spraying the color on this now, and just try to keep it away from the back of the cab and the rear door on this truck. So I'm going to go easy, nice and light. Try to fade it out a little bit, you know, with these pearls or metallics, whatever you're doing. You try to keep it too small, you're going to have a spot that you can see a mile away. So trying to keep it small and fading it out or blending it out, that's kind of the goal. It sounds tricky, but that's basically what you have to do. So the first coat's on. I'm going to come back in about 10 minutes or so. You know, I don't have a hard time that I wait in between things. I check them as I go. But a rule of thumb generically is about 10 minutes. You know, so I'm going to take this tack cloth, and I don't know if you can tell, it doesn't show as much as I wanted it, or I thought it would, but I open that tack cloth up all the way, and then I keep it loosely folded so that it's not just straight out of the package. And I do this every time I use this tack cloth, and until it has no more tack to it, and you know, I'll throw it out and get a new one. But see, I'm going to show, you can see the red on that tack cloth, and that's why it's so important to go over the panel, whether the car is red, you know, gray, black, white, it doesn't matter. In this case it's red, but you want to tack it off to get all that you know, excess base coat or anything that laid on the finish that's loose or dust or whatever. You want to keep that clean, you know, in between every coat of paint, and especially before you go to clear coat. Alright, so this is the second coat of base. Give it a quick look over. And, you know, judging by what I saw or what I'm seeing, you know, the coverage that I have on that spot, that little breakthrough, that chip or whatever is in the front. You know, I'm not too happy, so I'm going to go ahead, adjust my gun a little bit, the air pressure, and I'm going to angle my gun away from the cab of the truck. You see a little bit of the overspray getting on the plastic there and the tape, but if you look down that whole front edge of the bed, there's almost no base coat on it. So, you know, a little bit of a corner. You know, this color matches pretty good, really well actually, with the RM die mat. But you could get away with that, a little bit of the corner. Not the full side. You want to make sure you blend in that just so there's no issues. Alright, so now I'm starting into my third coat here. And I'm going to drag this out a little bit further than the first two coats. I dialed the air pressure back a little bit. You know, this is going to help me lay out the pearl and the color more evenly on this last coat. You know, and I'm going to go a little bit slower, pull back a little bit more. You know, I mean, it's almost kind of standard for these types of paint jobs. This is kind of what you want to do. So in my videos, you see, you know, I go back and I look over it, and I'm not just doing that because, you know, I'm wearing the action camera so I could just show, oh yeah. You need to look over it, whether you're wearing a camera or you're in the booth by yourself or you have other people looking through the window at you while you're doing it, whatever. You need to look over it a lot sometimes because you need to make sure. You can never be too sure that it looks the way it's supposed to. Because right now we're putting the first coat of clear on. Once you're at this step, you're putting the clear coat on and something doesn't look right, or, well, you know, maybe if I put the clear on it'll look better. Trust me, if it doesn't look good before you put the clear coat on, it's almost never going to look good after you put the clear coat on. So all the steps leading up to this, you need to make sure you're doing and checking and rechecking whatever you have to do until you get to the point where you can look at things and, you know, gain a little speed over time. But you need to make sure it looks right, because now is not the time to say, ooh, you know, I should have fixed that, or oh, I wish I did this or that. Now is the time where, okay, everything looks good and I know it looks good. I'm going to start spraying my clear. Alright, so it kind of seems like, oh wow, that was quick. It was about 10 minutes. This is a production clear I'm using on this job. So I'd say I waited about 10 minutes. I checked the plastic, the tape around the clear coat, or around the bedside, whatever. You know, I checked to make sure, am I pulling strings off? Is it sticky? Is it dry all the way? You don't want to be pulling strings of clear off when you touch that tape on the outside. Just after that happens, when the strings stop coming off, you're in pretty good shape to start clear coating again. So in this case, this is 2 coats. In this video right here, or this part of the clip, I'm going, I think, noticeably slower than I did in the first coat. The first coat I put on a little quicker, a little drier, and now on this second coat, I'm doing a really full wet coat. I'm going a little bit slower and more deliberately, and I'm making sure as I'm spraying that I'm looking, and my goal is to lay the clear coat on as flat and smooth and nicely as I can, to get it to match the factory finish on this truck. Yeah, make sure you get all your edges. That's always important. You don't want to forget any edges or anything. You want to get everything covered good. So that's pretty much it. I wrapped up this third coat. So I did my adhesion promoter, 3 coats of base, and 2 coats of clear coat, and a little bit of a quick look over, and here we go, we're done.